Hi, welcome to Wine with Chris. And yet again, we're on a secret location, on location, somewhere in Ireland, this time in the far wilds in the west of Ireland. Now, this will probably be a couple of vids, maybe all in one. But the purpose of this evening is to taste an absolutely spectacular wine and see if it lives up to its billing. I've got another esteemed guest, friend of the channel, and my father, Patrick Piper. Welcome to Wine with Chris, Patrick.
Thank you very much. Glad to make my first appearance.
And you can see down here, you probably had a quick look. These are some of the wines we'll be enjoying this week. And I think we're going to be taste pairing this magnificent Grand Prix Lacoste 1990 with the Weinert 1994, which is Argentinian Malbec, correct?
Correct, yes.
So we'll do that tomorrow. But tonight, it's all about this one on the end. Paul Roger Blanc de Blanc 2004. Now, some of the members of the channel will be sick of me telling this story at another friend of the channel's birthday last year when I popped the last of the 2000 Blanc de Blancs, and there were 6 of us there, so I literally got one glass only, and it was the single best glass of wine I had in 2020. Wine of the year. So I loved it so much that I went out to look for more. The 2000s are all gone, so we're able to get some 2004s, and we've brought one over here to the west of Ireland. Now, this sounds a bit glam, but it's not really the usual thing. But at my father's 70th birthday 1 week ago, we had another very special champagne. What was that again, Dad?
2002 Dom Perignon, which was a gift to me, I think by accident, from the giver. And it was magnificent, I must say. Very smooth, no acidity, easy to drink. Too easy to drink, but very expensive.
Very expensive. And it was when we were having that I decided I'd love for my dad to also taste this, because he loved the Dom Perignon so much, as we all did. But this probably remains, the 2000 version probably remains the best champagne I've ever had, even on top of the Dom Perignon. So we're going to put the younger brother to the test here this evening. Now, I'll just hand this over to you, Dad, while I get the pop. We don't have a champagne stopper here, so we're going to have to keep drinking this and sharing it around over the next half an hour or so. Let me give it a pop. Okay.
That sounds good. And whilst he's pouring, I'm now going to ask the cameraman to pan over my magnificent collection of fishing books from all ages. 2.5 shelves worth, which means that I catch a lot of fish.
Talk briefly about Peter Mantle.
Yeah, one of them actually is a very excellent book even for people who aren't interested in fishing. It's a guy called Peter Mantle, who's an English journalist who, in the I think it was probably in the late 80s, bought this magnificent fishery on the Duloch, which is the Delphi system here at that time. A fantastic sea trout fishery, but then the salmon farms came along, killed off all the sea trout, but he introduced it, built a hatchery for salmon, and it's now a world-renowned salmon fishery on the banks of the lake. He unfortunately was pushed out by some other shareholders, and he then went and opened another fishery in the Caribbean, which was equally famous. But he is now retired to the River Test in Hampshire and runs a small outfit down there. Well worth reading.
Very good. Now I'll pass you over this. I'll take that back, pass you over this. And the good news is, managed to get the stopper back in some way, so we've got some protection there.
Also good news, it's a good full glass.
I've given myself a very full glass by accident.
He's got a bigger glass.
I've gone for a wider glass. So anyway, cheers. And
Cheers.
Then tell me what you're smelling there.
Well, I'm certainly smelling a little bit of biscuit. I'm certainly smelling apple-y sort of bouquet, but
You smell. Would you know that's aged from giving it a?
well, possibly the biscuity smell is much stronger than a younger and lesser champagne. There's no doubt.
And the bubbles still, well, reasonably fresh, but
yeah, the bubbles look good. I'm thinking back to the Dom Perignon. My feeling then was the bubbles were slightly finer. The mousse was slightly finer.
And certainly on an
Dom
English
Perignon.
sparkling, more bubbles and smaller and
Yeah.
much roaring
Yeah.
fizz. That's very gentle. It's like an Arif eddy rather than a strong fizz.
Big brown flood.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Now that really is very appley, I'd have to say. That's the overriding taste. It's deliciously smooth to drink. Sometimes champagne can be a bit acidic and bubbles down your nose, which that certainly doesn't. Very, very nice. Lovely.
Still very fresh. Was 22 years old?
Very
no,
fresh.
sorry, 18 years old. 18 years old. I agree with you. Not tart apple, more of a sort of a sweet apple.
Yeah. Apple, bit of biscuit. I'm not a particularly distinguished palate of any sort, but those do stand out, those flavours.
Oh, it's absolutely delicious. And a difference, of course, between this and the Dom Perignon. Dom Perignon was brut, so it had all three. I forget the ratio of the three grapes, three classic grapes.
I don't think it actually said on the bottle.
Whereas this is Chardonnay only. Do we get any sort of easy distinction there between the two wines because of the difference in the grapes?
My sort of memory is that the Dom Perignon was marginally less fruity and smoother in a way. It doesn't have the taste that one has.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there. So I would agree with you. The Dom Perignon, almost more rounded and just very, very elegant.
It was like drinking silk.
Yeah, very elegant texture. That's rougher as a texture. It's not, you don't get that smoothness. But what I love about Chardonnay only champagnes or sparkling wines is the expression of the flavors. We've got few onlookers behind the camera now. Happens often with a wine with Chris. Much more expressive flavour, I think, than you get with the brut. For some reason, the three ones mellow themselves out, whereas I think when it's pure Chardonnay, I think also expression of fruit, but also I think it ages. These wines are within a couple of years of each other, fairly similarly old, but the Dom Perignon felt very fresh, and it was still very acidic and very, very clean, whereas this has that sensation of age, and I think a greater expression of taste because of it sort of matured and got old.
Definitely a much more forthright flavour, but slightly, as you say, rougher is not the right word for vintage champagne, but slightly more challenging to the palate than the Dom Perignon, which just slipped down very easily.
Lovely. So we're going to leave it there. We've got some Moules Marinière to get boiled up, and then some monkfish. We're going to be tasting this throughout the evening and also interspersing it with some Maté's Vineyard, Cumio River. So it's a fine evening of seafood and white wines to come. And then we'll come back for the Reds tomorrow night. Any final comments? Or are we good to go?
No, I think we're good to go. I have to go and cook.
Good to go. See you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.